So is it going to continue to be just a procession in this half of the draw for Ronnie O'Sullivan? It's almost like there's two separate tournaments going on, the one in the bottom half and the one in the half involving Ronnie O'Sullivan. Massive day for his opponent, Martin O'Donnell. Can he cope?
He found a gap back down the table, but the reds collided with the yellow, so early chance for Ronnie here.
One.
What you were saying before, Steve, is absolutely right. So you see a lot of top professionals and they play players that they're supposed to be easily and they struggle with focus and concentration.
7.
But Ronnie never seems to have that problem. It's almost like each match he challenges himself to play to a certain standard. Irrelevant who's in the other chair.
8.
That opening red from Martin O'Donnell was a sign of commitment. He didn't have to go for it. He could have played a safety to the top cushion. Perhaps he's got a game plan. Might have been a double kiss.
$13. $14.
He's overhit that quite a way. This blue's a lot more difficult. Even the pot. Right in the heart. And he'll be delighted with the outcome there.
19.
Couldn't have hit that better.
Needs to be just off straight the wrong way. This needs to be struck well. Right hand side screw. So when the cue ball comes back off that left hand side cushion, it's going to go up the table to get position on the black. Well, I made that look easy.
20.
Yeah, he stroked that in rather than banging at it. That would have meant the cue ball would have had a bit more movement to the right. Hit it as sweetly as he could have done. Similar shot there, and this time it looks like he's overhit it. Got too much
27.
side spin on. Looks like end of break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 27.
easy to connect the red and the white cushion, but the kiss certainly helped. Martin O'Donnell was just sat in his chair, actually just watching Ronnie. He's got to be careful not to get drawn into that. Try and concentrate on what you're there to do, if you can. Not easy, there you see, looking again. Quite easy to get to kind of hypnotise Steve, isn't it, when you're sat there?
Yeah. And that would be the case for a lot of the lesser known players, for quite a few of the top players, but no more so than Ronnie O'Sullivan, because all the top players like watching him play. So for Martin O'Donnell, today's not the day to work that one out. But then the same could have been said for yesterday. He could have been in Ding Junhui's shadow. He coped with that very well, so perhaps another jump up again, certainly from the excitement in the crowd. An excellent putt.
One.
Not only did he have to try and pot the ball, but he had to put a lot of right-hand spin to straighten up the cue ball, so had to allow a lot for that shot. Is he going for the brown in the top corner? This is aggressive, but they're lined up.
Martin O'Donnell, 1.
You could have forgiven Martin for rolling up behind the brown there, but he played the right shot. He was straight in the brown, offered position on the reds. So I'm not going to criticise him for taking that brown on at all.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Obviously,
If you
Martin...
haven't got a tripod, you're going to have to keep still till after he's took his shot, because he can see you moving up and down. Okay.
Yeah, quite unnerving cameramen moving backwards and forwards with their camera, especially in the eye line, always at the top of the table.
One.
Martin's been working with Ian McCulloch in his corner. Great guy to have in his corner, I think. Works perfectly as a team. I know he's been talking about being more aggressive on the shot. It's just getting that balance right, isn't it? So second bite of the cherry for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
6. Seven. 14. 15. 22. 23.
You see, he's finding it hard to take his eyes off his opponent. Not even when he's down at the shot, just general walking around the table. Now you see, he's following him.
30.
Looking ominous for this first
30.
frame now.
Yes, an interesting choice of shot. Martin O'Donnell's brown
38.
hadn't really got his arm going. Big shot to
39.
take on. They were lined up. It was an inviting shot, wasn't it?
It wasn't the smoothest delivery either.
.46.
I think, as I said before, I think nobody expects Martin O'Donnell to win this match today, but if he can come out of it saying, well, I went for my shots,
47.
I didn't shrink away from the big shots, then he might take that away from the match today. Ronnie just stopped in his tracks there, wasn't expecting a cue ball to
54.
travel as far off the cushion.
.55. .62. 63. .70. 71.
Watch the right-hand side take effect here. Getting the cue ball up to the yellow. Chance to start this match
75.
with a century. Possible 102.
77.
Which, on a completely separate note, nothing to do with this, was my first ever century break, 102.
80. 84.
Solid start, you have to say. Business as usual.
.89.
Stretching out. Thought he might play this left-handed. Still hit it pretty well.
95.
Two attempts, but in the end, a magnificent century break for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He takes the first frame, leads 1-0.
Well, there's a little statement of intent from Ronnie O'Sullivan, and that's his 5th century of the championship so far. I was looking it up last night. Joe Perry has been the most prolific century maker this week, 7 so far, and counting from Joe on the other match. Anyway, Martin O'Donnell, the long brown, Alan, was where it seemed to go wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he gets his chance here. He potted a good initial red, and we're going to run this brown. All right, credit to him for going for it. Maybe he's gone out there today thinking, right, I'm going to have to really show Ronnie that I'm strong upstairs. I think he might have went for it for the wrong reasons, because I don't think he would have went for it in maybe the first round. It's hard to tell. But credit to him for having a go at it. But as Stephen said, business as usual. Ronnie needed 2 chances there, and usually he does it in 1. But, yeah, Martin will be disappointed with that, because it was a brown he would normally knock in. But a bit of a nervy one.
I guess there must be a bit of pressure on Martin to go out there as world number 59, try and show what he's made of. It's a huge occasion for him, John, isn't it?
It's a massive occasion. It's his biggest in his snooker career. But I would counter that by saying it's probably a free roll of the dice as well. I mean, if you did an Alexander Armstrong on pointless and asked 100 people how many think Ronnie O'Sullivan isn't going to win this match, it'd be in the high 90s. Everyone would be thinking he's going to win. So in some respects, you've done brilliantly well to get here. You can relax a little bit, even though it's the circumstances you're in, and just go and play. You know, play every shot that comes to you as good as you can play it. If it's a safety, play as good as you can. If it's a break there, do the best you can and see where it ends up.
I think Martin O'Donnell, I always look at techniques, don't I? But
You do.
Martin's got a method, and it's a good one. But the best thing about it is the method's been working recently. So he's got that confidence going in. He's just got to try and somehow get in early and try and disrupt the bandwagon.
It's a great story, isn't it? He's actually dropped off the tour twice before. He's 32. He's no spring chicken. And once actually was a club professional at the RAC club down in London.
In Pall Mall, he's probably given a lesson to my next door neighbour, Roy. So if you're watching, Roy, you'll be tuned in today because he's probably had a couple of lessons off Martin.
OK, that was in the past, this is now, and this is a big occasion for both.
Good break-off from Martin O'Donnell's caused Ronnie an early problem. And I do think the key to playing against the top players for less-known players is definitely play the table, not the player. It's far easier said than done.
If Martin O'Donnell came out and played this table today and just didn't miss any easy balls, you know, it'd be interesting to see how far you would get. It's the unforced errors that people produce against Ronnie, and obviously that's the pressure playing Ronnie O'Sullivan.
I'm not too sure about you, Stephen, in your career, but I don't think I ever really had a game plan against a player. Just tried to play the table.
Well,
Nicely on the green. The problem in this break is going to be the black doesn't look available. If he pots the pink, that's going to be unavailable.
4.
But it'd be good just to pot 3 or 4 loose reds with colours. Just get the arm going.
5.
Not on the blue. If he's dead straight on the green, he can pull it back across the face of the blue for a red into the right corner. Say he's not on the blue. It's a thin cut. I think he's got enough of an angle on the green that that's a problem. So he's a little bit in no man's land here for ideal position. The brown would be an option for a right-hander. Not so. It's a bit harder for him.
Playing a direct screw back on the green. This has to be struck well. It's just off straight. And he has struck it well. And that's a nice little brush off the blue. I think another thing is important is that he plays at his own pace. He doesn't try and change anything today. He just plays his natural game.
Oh, big slice of luck there for ideal position. OK, he'd have had a chance at the red or another red into the left corner, but he'd have been delighted to have seen that flick off the blue.
I know he's not had much table time, but there you see the average shot time is almost twice as much as Ronnie O'Sullivan. I'm sure that'll come down.
9.
It has to be said he was very impressive against Ding Junhui yesterday. And also in the way he closed the game out. He didn't balk at his chance.
Obviously the red beside the black doesn't pot to the right corner because that's what he'd be playing for here. So you're just looking at the red in between the black and the main bunch. Interesting to see where the pink goes when he pots this. Played the aggressive shot. And fortunately that looks like end of break.
$15.
Didn't look like he had the angle to ever get a full enough contact on the bunch there.
Yeah, the only trouble is the harder you hit it, the more the cue ball goes off to the side before the backspin takes effect. It's a trade-off, really. Hit it softer, you don't do so much damage. Hit it harder, you miss the ball, or the cannoning ball.
You could
Martin
physically
O'Donnell,
see
15.
Martin O'Donnell's bridge hand. There's a bit of shaking. Understandable. Massive occasion. You see if you watch closely, there's not quite so obvious, but you could see a little bit of twitching in the hand. Don't think he'll be even breathing normally at the moment, Martin O'Donnell.
Well, regardless of how he's feeling, how many players that have lived the dream and thought about playing the game of snooker at professional level would love to swap places with Martin and play Ronnie O'Sullivan centre stage.
Long way off. Brought the cue ball back to trying to get it back to safety. That pot would have been a lot easier if he could have played for the black.
And considering how far he missed it by, he did well to get the cue ball back as far as he did. He'd have got a lot more backspin on had he have hit it fuller in the face. Ronnie spotted a gap. He thought he'd spotted a gap, but he played it very thick. He mishit the angle. He won't be happy with that. Has he done any damage?
One.
So a sort of replica of the first game, first frame. This is Martin O'Donnell's second bite amongst the balls. Can he replicate what Ronnie did in the first frame?
Once he pots the blue, that's going to go in the pink spot, and
Blue
it will
ball.
be available to the right corner. So it's a decent opportunity, this. No need to bother about trying to get the black into play, really, because all the reds are round about that pink spot. So blue and pink
6.
are certainly enough to continue this break.
Seven.
Yeah, those reds aren't ideally placed. None of them at the moment pot into the right corner.
Yeah, he needs to just stun the cue ball for one of the two reds below the blue, one of those, the top one preferably, into the left corner. Even if he's played it well, I was going to say, even if he's bridging over the other red, as long as it was straight, it was unmissable. He's trying to develop something.
12.
The only thing bridging over a red, if it's the red he's playing is off straight, that's when the problems can begin with the positional side of the shot.
13.
But this is a nice opportunity, isn't it? Because it's nothing to do with the cue ball. Cue ball shouldn't be travelling any distance here at all. Red's all surrounding that blue.
He should be able to continue playing decent position and close in as well. Playing this, we could play this with a bit of stun for the red just below the blue, but lining up with topspin, he's going to leave himself more distance away from the next red, but there's one available into the left corner. We did stun it in the end, drop the cue down a bit.
Yeah, he's addressing the cue ball quite high, wasn't he, for that shot? Like you, I thought he was dropping it in the topspin.
Well, that shot we saw of the bridge, he does have some bridge movement and seems to drop down a fraction when he plays the shot, so don't know if that's on every shot.
Good
19.
shot. Yeah, he's played that very well. Finished right side of the pink.
He has a very distinctive bridge, doesn't he? It's like a half a claw going on there with the middle two fingers. They don't necessarily add too much strength to the
25.
bridge. The little finger and the index finger are the two that really add strength to a bridge, but
26.
Yeah, it looks to be pretty straight in this, but it shouldn't be a problem. Just drop the blue in, almost dead weight. Follow the cue ball through for the red that's closest to the blue. Actually played it as a bit of a stun run through. Next angle in the blue's got to be correct, hasn't it?
31.
yep. The difference between not being able to get on the black and playing blues all the time, you're dropping 2 points every red. That can mean you might need an extra red at the end to get over the line.
32.
He's looked pretty composed, just taking his time, playing at his own pace. Played that nicely as well. Okay, the cue balls, he's not had a lot of work to do in this break, but what he has done, he's done it perfectly so far.
37.
Well, we've seen plenty of low-ranked players, when they do get a chance on the main table, collapsing. Certainly hasn't happened here, but this shot did. Perhaps that was getting
Martin
closer to the
O'Donnell,
finishing line.
37.
Just trying to get a few more reds and he'd have been over the line.
He missed it by a long way, didn't he?
Didn't really expect that. I thought he was in stroke by then. Came from nowhere, really. So the counter-attack from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Six.
Yeah, go back to what I said earlier when you're playing Ronnie O'Sullivan. Just don't miss any easy balls. And then you give yourself a chance.
7.
Martin O'Donnell is going to hope that Ronnie has some positional problems. That red and black are a problem.
12.
And he's coming round to play, or look at this red. If he was chose to play the red to left middle, he could have come off the cushion, possibly play a cannon on the red next to the black.
Cheers. 13.
Made that look easy, and Ronnie doesn't have a personal extension that he screws into the bottom of his cue. I don't think those extensions are as good as something that screws in tight to the cue, but
18.
made it look easy. Difficult bridging this one, and left-handed. Wow, well, he's changed his mind there.
Oh, now that's when the real work starts. Looks to be straight enough to pink just to screw direct in behind this red. And that's how he goes about this,
25.
moving this last red next to the black after this red, which he'll hopefully pot high in the blue.
26.
Well, the red scraped in, and body language would say he's very straight in the blue.
He'll be really looking for a way to get it out off the pink here with a little bit of left-hand spin. Perhaps he can screw through the gap as well. Even that's a better way as well. That's a fantastic effort. It's a brilliant effort. It really is. Well, okay, it looks
32.
to be end of break, but he may be able to play a very good safety. A lot of players may have played that. I think I would have done. In between yellow and brown, and put left-hand side spin on to come down and try and move red and black, but you've got some pace into it as well. Pretty unlucky. No attempt at the pot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 32.
And Martin O'Donnell will be relieved to have another chance, and also relieved to actually be able to see the red.
He's actually got quite a comfortable safety shot. You just play the red onto the black. Try and get the cue ball in behind that brown and yellow, somewhere in the baulk cushion. Tap on the table from Ronnie. You can see this red. But as you say, Steve, Martin will be just delighted he's still in this frame. Brilliant shot. With a trace of left-hand side.
Bit of danger here. Tough safety. Whichever safety shot he chooses, he hasn't got much margin of error on the shot itself, for fear of colliding with other colours. He's also got to try and get the red safe.
Foul, Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Well,
4.
He didn't collide with blue or pink, but that path towards the middle pocket was always a problem as well. Straight in the middle.
1.
He really set himself up for that shot, but gave it plenty of respect. You'd expect it to be a frame winner. But he does need all the balls.
Seven.
Would have liked to be 2 or 3 inches further up the table. This needs to be struck well. No doubt it will be.
9.
It was just an awkward little angle he had in the yellow there.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 9.
Well, I don't think anyone in the arena expected Ronnie not to win when he knocked in the long red. You can see what he thinks about that situation. What a chance for Martin.
3.
He was a little way out with that green. He
Yeah,
is
sure.
brilliant left-handed, but I don't think he is as good left-handed as right on that shot. So it was a judgment call whether to play it left-handed or with the rest, but it was tough cut, and also a tough cut to control the cue ball.
Seven.
A little bit closer to the cushion for comfort, but this is frame ball. Wiggled in.
Well,
You could see the effort in his face there, visually, the effort he was putting into that shot. Person of the lips, concentrating so hard. And he's now out of the woods. If he misses his pink, Ronnie will come back to the table. Well done, Martin O'Donnell.
18.
He'll feel a lot better now. He's into this match. He's got his first frame on the board. All square at 1 each.
Walking down during a frame and they're doing it in that frame. And if they carry on, you're going to have to stop it.
all right, I'll
It's
keep
really
an eye on it.
awkward 'cause you're like in a rhythm. No, you've got to tell them to stop. People
Okay,
can't.
I'll call through. Did you get that?
Yeah, just a little bit of movement distracting Ronnie, it would appear, in that frame. But it's Martin O'Donnell who's fought hard in that one. And John, you were saying, actually, as we were watching that, you were quite impressed with his composure in the last couple of rounds.
I actually think yesterday, when the heat got at its worst in that match with Ding Junhui, he played his best, which is always a really good sign. He's got an excellent temperament, seems very even-keeled all the way through the match that he played. But it was getting over the winning line. He didn't balk at the opportunity, which was very impressive.
Well, I think what we're hearing is that Ronnie not happy with people coming in and out of the arena during these matches. It is difficult, Alan. Clearly, we've only got the 2 tables in here, and goodness knows it's a lot tougher when you've got 4 out there. Is it hard to sometimes keep your focus when you do have visual distractions like we have in this championship?
The strange thing about it is, let's say when the other table comes to the interval and maybe 30 or 40 people move, then it's fine.
It's just when 1 or 2, maybe
Stragglers
or latecomers come in, then you think, well, then it does catch your eye and it can be off-putting. But there's not a lot you can do about
No.
it here.
No, you're accepting of what it is, and you get used to playing it. But the funny thing is, at the Crucible, there's a screen down the middle. So half of those distractions that you see here, you don't see there because the screen is covering it. So yes, you get people up and down, but you do get used to it. It's just if it's doing it too often, that's when he's going to be a bit upset about it.
I was going to ask you, Alan, clearly you're still out there playing on the tour and indeed winning, got past John Higgins here in York, clearly. But what's been your experience of seeing Martin O'Donnell on this tour? I was mentioning the fact that he has had his struggles. He's had to come back through Q school to get here in the first place.
The thing that
Thank
every
you.
other player in the tour will be aware of is his season's form. It's been by far the best of his career. So as I said at the end of frame one, he's coming in here with confidence. His method's good.
And it's been working of
Late, so something to build on, just getting over the line in frame two.
OK.
Not the best break-off, but actually no damage done. As a last resort, Ronnie might have to go into the pack off the side of the left-hand side cushion here, but he feels he can cut this red in and get back to baulk. Far more aggressive shot. Didn't want to catch it thick though, he caught it very thick.
One. Just give me a second, please, Martin.
Excellent opening red from Martin O'Donnell. Obviously happy to have got that frame on the board. That helps you no end. Pink ball has to go closest to its own spot in a direct line with the top cushion from its spot. So even there's a few places that may seem closer, that's the line.
Thank you. 7. Eight.
He did have the option to actually follow through for the black there. Nice. Yeah, he's got right side of the blue.
$13.
He visibly looks more relaxed, getting that frame on the board. Looks more comfortable around the table now, a bit more composed. Careful not to jinx
14.
him, but certainly looks like he's concentrating on what he's there to do rather than the actual surroundings. But as I keep
Martin
saying,
O'Donnell, 14.
can't afford to miss easy balls. Make unforced errors against Ronnie O'Sullivan.
One. 4.
Well, that black over the pocket,
9.
I'm sure Ronnie will be aware that he can cut it in, smash into the pack, should he so wish. He can go into the pack now. Ooh.
10.
Other than that, couldn't really have foreseen that. That was very unlucky. You'd have thought he'd have got some sort of release from the pack there, but
Yeah, I haven't had a second look at it. The benefit of hindsight, I think I would have preferred your first option, Steve. Playing
Yeah.
off the black, getting the cue ball on that left side cushion. Obviously, you can lose the cue ball at the
17.
table if it goes wrong, but it certainly looked.
it's a tough one, that, wasn't it? Could see the benefits of both ways.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 17.
Just signs that a little bit of frustration creeping into Ronnie's game.
Well, he just doesn't like messing up opportunities. I mean, none of us do, but sort of occupational hazard. But if you asked him after the match about the two different ways of going into the pack, with hindsight, mishit that. Didn't want that cue ball anywhere near the jaws of the middle pocket, so on his back at the table with a chance.
Not the ideal kiss on the blue. So, good yellow with a rest needed. Probably just stun off the bulk cushion, right hand side cushion for the red that's in the middle of the table to the left corner. No, I don't think, rest or not, I don't think I've
Ronnie
seen Ronnie
O'Sullivan,
miss a pot
what?
by so far. I suppose Martin, when he came into this match, he might not have expected to have so many chances. He's had a few. This wasn't too difficult. Again, missed it by a long way. Seemed to overhit it slightly, or certainly didn't hit it smoothly.
1.
That's unusual. don't think there's one colour on its spot. Very unusual in a Ronnie O'Sullivan match. Again, a shake of the head.
4. Five.
In this match today, I think Ronnie knows he's going to win the match inside, so it's just keeping that focus. It's a battle with himself to try and concentrate and getting the job done as quickly as possible.
And this will open things up very nicely.
11.
You play a little cannon into the 2 reds that are near the pink spot. Got into the cue ball a bit too much. Just hoping to leave the red to the right of the pink, to the right corner. We had a full ball
18.
contact on this red here.
And that was very well controlled. And even though we haven't exactly had takeoff here this afternoon, you've got to graft away sometimes.
25. Six.
Red and black.
32.
We'll put him 44 ahead, 43 on.
33.
I don't think there's any danger of Martin O'Donnell coming back to the table.
40. 41. 46. 47. 52. 54.
There is a sort of pressure if you're one of the top players and there's a match you play in where you are fully expected to beat your opponent. It's not something that Ronnie O'Sullivan usually
57.
has a problem with. In these types of matches, you just got to work your way into the match. So even though it hasn't been plain sailing,
61.
he's 2-1 in front.
66.
Still concentrating on potting every ball on the
72.
table. That's good discipline. Is black for another high break. Ronnie O'Sullivan
79 frame.
goes 2-1 in front.
Interesting that Stephen Hendry was talking about Ronnie having to keep his focus, and we were just chatting about the fact that Ronnie's now working with Steve Feeney at sight right, so it's not just his mind control that he has with Dr. Steve Peters, but he's got this technique in his favour to be able to help him there too.
Yes, now I don't know the intricacies of what it is, but I want to run 2 shots in a row here. There's he's got a yellow into the. Watch the double swipe. 1, 2. There it is. It's setting up to play the shot. Right, he plays the yellow. I call this a trigger movement. I think this is really important for a lot of players. It's sort of a before you play a shot. It's not a technical thing. It's like watch the swipe again here, just as he's cueing it. There you go. There it is. Just a quick thing, and he's in. Now it's not going to affect him when he's down the shot. It confirms in his own mind that what I'm seeing is what I'm supposed to be seeing. It's like between half a second and a second before he goes down and plays it. That's the important thing. Trigger movements can be really important. It's like golfers probably, you get up to play a golf shot, you get in a moment of when you're about to swing. It's a similar thing, and I like that he's doing it. It's not all just fast-flowing. There are technical things if you know what to look for.
Absolutely, and we see that in golf all the time, Alan, don't we? They get into that bubble and they play and they go back to what they know. Interesting, though, at sight right with Steve Feeney is what Mark Williams has been relying on, and it's really been hugely responsible for his rejuvenation. I just wonder, has Ronnie seen that and thought, I'd like a bit of that?
He's also, what you have to remember, been around for a heck of a long time, and sometimes as players you need to have something to reinvigorate yourself.
Yeah.
So there might be something that comes along. I have no doubt that it works. Absolutely not. There's too many players going there now, and Steve Feeney's doing too good a job with all of them that it definitely works. But it can ask the catalyst just to give you a little bit more, a refresher to looking forward to playing and practicing. I mean, the other day he was in here for 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, he came in and he wanted to work at it. So you always need little things as you go along, particularly if you've been around a long time, just to freshen it up.
Those sessions he's having with Steve Feeney, do we know how frequently this is happening? It's not an every week thing that he's doing, Alan, is it?
I can't say for sure. What I do know is that it's not as frequent as Mark Williams, the time that Mark spends with him. I know that Mark sort of loses whatever it is they're working on from time to time, so he needs operating on, if you like. His game needs a little tighten up, a refresher course, whatever it is, more regular. Ronnie's, I think, just given something to work on less frequently, but you're seeing some of it out there.
Yep, his technique's well under control, his mind's well under control as well. He's the full package in this game, certainly. Back we go.
Good cue ball. And the break off from Martin O'Donnell. Can play off the main bunch, get in behind, go back up to baulk behind those reds near the right hand side of the table, but looks like the up and down shot. Become a shot that's more used now, more now than ever. I think players are reluctant to play safeties off the bunch of the pack, probably because so many of the players are great long potters these days. Don't want to stick around over that left corner pocket.
Yeah, and also the pack opens up easier as well, so it can be an issue. Chance, but not an easy one. Well potted.
One.
I mean, he's got a perfect angle. He could play yellow into the main bunch, but I don't think that's the way Martin plays. Hit that nicely, played it well.
5.
It's coming down to see the red above the black. And I'd love to be able to get on that to the right corner if it goes. Nudge the other one away, and that would really make this into a nice scoring chance. So first part of that plan, get a nice angle on the blue, which he has done. That's perfect. So he's just coming down to look at this red. Just wants to be a touch high, so he can just play with screw, and you see, knock that red away from the black and leave the black to the same pocket. Needs his cue ball to travel. He's not high in the red. Is he even on it?
11.
Well, that looks tight. You don't really want to be playing these with side spin. You can change the pot with side spin, but it causes all sorts of problems.
He'll be disappointed there because a big margin for error. Anything too hard, he's still going to be on that red. The only thing he couldn't do was be short.
Martin O'Donnell, 11.
Really be disappointed with that, and not a rookie mistake, but erring on the side of the wrong side of the pot is not the way you like to play professional snooker, especially when, as you said, Stephen, there's a lot more room for error on the other side.
Foul. Martin O'Donnell, 7.
Doesn't necessarily make much difference to the situation, although, you know, those 7 points could come in handy at the end of the frame, I suppose.
Again, it's interesting, Ronnie's choice of shot there. Could have played a safety off the main bunch, as Martin is doing now, but just didn't want to open the reds and put one over the right corner. Showing respect to his opponent. This looks a good line.
Nearly. Ronnie coming up to the top to see if he does now play the main bunch, what's left of it. Trying to work out where the reds would go.
Aiming low in the cue ball, so trying to swing the cue ball round. Is he playing for the black to the same pocket? That would be an aggressive shot. He is doing. Just didn't negotiate the gap.
Looks like green and safety behind the yellow.
Green ball. Thank you. Martin O'Donnell, 1.
Decent effort, although not guaranteed to get Ronnie in all sorts of trouble. Could always possibly play to the top cushion, and Martin would then be left with a red into the middle, but not a certainty. So can Ronnie sort anything else out? He's got to avoid the double kiss, if that's on his mind, playing across the face of the red. Well, that's so unlucky for that red to go. He played it perfectly. For the red to wheedle its way across the table like that was no way of spotting that.
One.
Always difficult to guarantee position from a red right over the jaws of a pocket. Perhaps could have hit it a bit harder. He did have brown and yellow down there to play with as well.
Larson O'Donnell, 1.
Yeah, Ronnie's alignment, we'll be talking about sighting alignment. I don't necessarily see too much difference in where his eyes are over the top of the cue. I think he's still over the left eye. But he does seem to stand behind the shot a bit more to try and get the line. Be interesting to see a previous long straight shot of Ronnie's eye position over the top of the cue compared to now, but I don't think there's that much difference, if any. But it's nice to see the shot and the line of the shot when you're standing up behind it and then walk into it. That's something that a lot of players have considered over the years.
Pretty good shot. Maybe, well, a lot of players, you think an argument for saying this sort of frame would suit Martin more than Ronnie, but Ronnie's pretty adept at winning all sorts of frames. He views it as a challenge. If someone wants to make it scrappy and out safety him, he'll try and beat them at that game. Whatever any opponent brings, he wants to be the better player at it. He usually is.
Yeah, and I think that's something he didn't have in his armoury when he was younger. Now he enjoys that challenge as well. He's getting a bit tied up, this frame. A few reds moving their way towards the top cushion. Well, he's lost the cue ball, and he's hoping he hasn't done any damage. There's obviously pots on for Ronnie O'Sullivan. The positional part's very difficult. Can he get back down the table from this one near the pink spot?
One.
And what's the line like on the brown? Not good.
He's going around to look at the pink.
Yeah.
On the screen, it looks like it's over the pocket, but believe me, it's not. Brilliant shot. Brilliant shot. Controlled.
7.
He didn't just try and pot it, he played it with stun. Long screw shot there.
Eight.
You can tell from Ronnie's reaction, he got a kick.
Yeah.
Destroyed the angle of the cue ball.
Visibly see the red leave the bed of the table there.
Big pink to take on.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 8. Yeah.
And you watch the red. See the bounce. Yeah, Ronnie doesn't use this fancy chalk, that anti-kick chalk, does he? He uses the traditional chalk.
Fancy chalk. Well, he's lost the cue ball here.
One.
He really got into that shot. It's a very thin cut back on the pink. And Ronnie may well have got away with that. Pink he missed.
Well, the fact that Martin's come down to look at the reds says to me he's taken this pink on.
Yeah.
This is an aggressive shot as well.
It's funny, isn't it, like when you're amongst the balls and you've played a shot and played a poor positional shot, there's the temptation always to carry the break on. I think he's cutting his losses here.
Nelson O'Donnell, 1.
Be tough to get a leave with those reds on the top cushion, but you never know. There is a red second to the left on the table. But Ronnie's got to be careful he doesn't leave for Martin. And can he see this? Can he swerve round it? If he had to swerve round it with right hand spin, it would be tough to get the cue ball back down the table. That would kill the pace of the cue ball off the top cushion. So tempted, but this seems a better option. Yes. Not too sure what Martin can do here. It could be an amazing shot to get this cue ball off the top cushion, or off the bottom cushion and in behind the green, although the line is there, but it's very risky. Looks like he's playing safety back to the top cushion. Oh, that's a really poor shot. Really unforced as well. There were easier options than that. He was trying to play an aggressive safety. I'll give him that. But he really has butchered that shot. So a chance for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
One. pink ball. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Not the easiest of safeties back to balk. That's a great shot. He'll be delighted with that.
The red in the cushion, if he's trying to come thin off that, it's one of the hardest shots in snooker. When you're cueing across it, trying to get the thin contact. Very tough shot. Well, he's done not a bad job at it. It was a tough shot.
Yeah, that was an excellent shot as well. Ronnie would appear to have a far more straightforward safety now. Can he get in behind a yellow? 4 cushions. That's what he tried. Didn't get enough side spin on.
One.
Great shot, but I think you can tell. Nearly on the black. He's got to play it with side spin. He's got to flick it around, curve it around the black, flick it in.
Foul. This. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1. Martin O'Donnell, 7.
It's unusual to see Ronnie take on a shot that he's not 100% certain it's going to be okay. Definitely frustrated out there. He's finding it hard to keep his focus. And saying earlier, likes the challenge of winning these frames, but he still would much rather be winning frames in one visit.
Yeah, I didn't really see this performance coming after how he's been playing in this event, but every day is a different day. You've got to keep on reasserting yourself.
And the balls dictate as well, don't they? The way the balls run. I mean, nobody really likes these types of frames, do they? Did you even like this type of frame, Steve?
Even me.
Even you?
No, no. It's a great effort, that is. What a fantastic shot that is. No. I think fair to say this type of snooker's being played less and less. It was forced to be played during the 80s, a lot of scrappy frames, so you sort of had to deal with them, but you don't see Ronnie O'Sullivan getting involved in many. Same for all the top players.
And you can see at least a 10-second difference. Average shot time.
Well, I'm not too sure on the stats of Ronnie O'Sullivan's longest frame this season, but this could potentially be one of them. It's a real difficult one to see anybody resolving it quickly. All the time that red and black are together, and the pink and the blue are out of commission, more or less. The pink. Well, where's the break going to come from?
Yeah, I'm trying to organise it.
You obviously haven't asked someone.
Can you get somebody up there in security, please? Thank you. We did ask him, yeah.
I know, but they haven't done it, have they?
Well, he stopped them from over there, but they haven't stopped them from up there. So, yeah, just get through to them.
Two main stairwells that the crowds are allowed to walk down, really in the player's eye line, regardless of what table you're on. It wouldn't really make much difference if there was a completely centre screen down the middle of the room. You'd still be able to see those two walkways. It's just occupational hazard, Stephen? I suppose so.
Yeah, it's even worse at the Crucible, isn't it? Because it's a lot tighter, the Crucible Theatre. The crowd's so much closer to the table.
Having said that, I think Ronnie O'Sullivan's got a point, because at the Masters, once play starts, they stop any crowds going into the room. They have a TV area that the people can watch. Perhaps they need to do that here.
It's impossible, isn't it, with 2 tables though? People have got to come back in at some stage. The other table's at the interval before this one. It's a hard problem to solve.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah, it's a tough. The logistical setup of every venue is different. Well, if this red stop, if this cue ball stops, there's a chance.
3.
It's not guaranteed. There's a chance that Ronnie can free the red away from the black. It would have to be perfectly played.
4.
He's on the black. He likes a slightly thinner contact on that red, but he's still on this.
11.
As it turned out, when that cue ball hit the bump of the jaws of the middle pocket, it actually helped him out a bit.
12.
Still going to be a fantastic effort to win the frame in this visit.
19.
Ronnie uses that previous
20.
shot, screwing the cue ball off 2 cushions more than anyone in the game. It's a great shot to play well. It's quite straight in this red. He's going to have to play this at a bit of pace
27.
to make sure he gets out for the black.
He doesn't need the green. That's a big advantage.
28.
Obviously been able to play to such a high standard left-handed. This red shouldn't prove a problem, but he's overscrewed that.
35.
Bit more of an angle than he would have wanted. Okay, he's going to play it dead weight.
Cheers. 36.
Quite a clever shot there, actually. You see where the cue ball is. He would have snookered Martin on that red, should he have missed it.
Well, he's made what looked like an impossible clearance look very easy here.
43.
It's one of his great strengths.
45.
That was frame ball.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 45.
So barring snookers, it looks like Ronnie O'Sullivan will be going into the interval 3-1 in front.
It's actually a clever shot Ronnie O'Sullivan just played there. He deliberately cannoned the cue ball into the black to put it near the cushion. He took one snookering option away from his opponent.
His heart would have been in his mouth there. He didn't get that much swerve on it. A little less, he could have got it off. No. Okay, he's got the green safe, but he didn't really want to collide with the black and push it closer to the cushion. There is a bit of gap behind the black. Not much though now. Yeah, excellent bit of cue in there.
3.
Don't think Martin will come back to the table now. Bit of a forlorn hope, really, in this frame now.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
Well,
3.
he is coming back. He's not really got many snookering options. Where the blue is, where the black is, and he's snookered himself.
Yeah, you might be lucky to win one frame in 5,000 from this position. I think it's all over now. These are lined up.
4.
Well, what a pot this is. What a pot this is.
15.
Well, perhaps not the snooker we were expecting, but perfect century in the first frame. Ronnie Sullivan's done enough, and he leads at the interval 3 frames to 1.
Thank you, frame 5. Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
So back to the action. Is it going to be a game of 2 halves? Is it going to be more open? And the ball's going to run nicer. It got very bogged down the last couple of frames before the interval. Looks like we've got that same up and down shot coming up. Send this red up the table. He may be tempted to take it on, but it's very dangerous. I think it's red up to the baulk. Cue ball on the black cushion. Why is he playing the pot? Well, he's been lucky, because if he'd missed that a little bit thicker, he would have left the red in the black spot. Aggressive shot. we've seen Alan McManus mention upwards of 34, 35 seconds. A shot is too slow. That's what Martin O'Donnell is at the moment. That's an excellent pot. Is he going to be on the black? Needs that cue ball to stop. Unlucky there, really. Very unlucky.
Yeah, and I don't consider that this match has been unattractive. 33 seconds for Martin O'Donnell. It's sometimes dependent upon the types of frames you have. And I, for one, wouldn't really like to see shot clocks being brought in. I'd much rather have the referee be the person who judges. He's out there.
Martin O'Donnell, 1.
So there's a tester, red to the left of the blue. How aggressive? I mean, he could play goal at 100%, just stun the cue ball beyond the black. I think if you think about safety, you miss the pot. Yeah, good shot. Positive.
Whoa.
Cue ball just snuck in behind the blue. Can he get his cue to the centre of the white ball without raising it up too high?
Eight. Nine. $16.
Two more loose reds. If I was Martin, I'd be want to go into the bunch. Well, there's still one loose red. And he's left that angle.
17.
It's high on the black. It's not the biggest target to go into, but it's the right shot. And as I say, that red that's near his bridge hand, there's every chance he might still be on that if the split doesn't work out. And it was unlucky. That's the only problem with that shot, is because you play it with top spin and the cue ball arcs. You almost have to play it with you almost have to stun it, because by the time the top spin takes effect, the cue ball has gone wide.
If he'd have hit the shot softer, he probably would have gone into the pack. But then obviously hitting the cue ball softer, it could have stuck in the pack. That was the problem. So end of break, you'd assume, unless he really pushes that boat out. Fantastic effort. Great shot to nothing. Has he got an angle on the green? Looks to have some angle. He's got to whack it hard to get back into the top half of the table, though. decided not to. Very gettable red into this
28.
left corner. You expect him to get this.
No, you can clearly
Lawson
see there
O'Donnell,
it wasn't well
28.
cued at all. The red that he potted, the very first red to the left of the blue, he cued it nice and smoothly. Watch the back arm, the left arm come out here.
Yeah, not being able to put his right forearm on the table, having that up in the air, probably changed the shape of his body on the shot.
The red that Ronnie O'Sullivan played is the one that's now causing Martin a headache with that right middle pocket. Playing the cue ball, trying to get cue ball tight on the black cushion here. Well, I got it completely wrong. He went for the cross double, but as I say, I think he may now have left that red. This is cuttable. Slight raise of the hand by Ronnie to his opponent there. You can see the hand. Obviously not as played.
Give me a second, please.
It's a nice shot coming up. If he's playing a stun run through for the black. A shot that needs very good cueing. Very good technique. If it's just off straight, possible, just play it with drag. If it's dead straight, it'll be the stun run through. Although looking where the pink's been spotted, that may possibly be available to the left corner.
Thank you. 7.
So we come around to have a look at that.
Eight.
Monstrous bounce off the cushion. That was ridiculous.
15.
Can only assume that there was some chalk on the cue ball that was striking the cushion. That can change the bounce. great recovery.
16. $21. $22. $27.
Well, that could have come out nicer.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 27.
He didn't catch the red full in the face and lost the white ball. Still could have worked out okay. Obviously every frame important, but it does feel like this is a big one for Martin. The difference between 4-1 and 3-2 seems massive. Is he angled? He's angled. You don't see that often. Or he might be angled. It wasn't a good effort from Martin O'Donnell. He may have got away with it. I mean, even so, it's still a tough pot. Is he swerving it a bit? Playing safe? Don't know. Yeah, that's all he could do. He'd be pleased with that. That's a great shot. He's got that, keep that red safe as well. And actually kept the heat on Martin O'Donnell here with that snooker on the red using the brown. shot.
Yeah, it was even better in respect to look what he was leaving. That was ultimate commitment to the shot there.
6.
Wow,
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 6.
that's incredible. It's just purely concentration. Good pot right in the middle of the pocket. The rest. Opportunity.
Seven. Eight.
Oh, he's left himself quite a high angle in this black. He just wanted to be able to drop on the red on the black cushion. Now he's going to get something into the cue ball. He might even have to play for the red in bulk here.
Yeah.
Well, he's aiming low, just playing the stun. But want it to be a natural angle just to drop on it. Now he's a bit further away from the red.
Yeah, now this is missable, isn't it? Pretty sort of basic error there, not
15.
getting straight on that black. So more pressure on this now.
Martin O'Donnell, 15.
And yeah, it's just doing the easy things well. Has eluded Martin to date.
And the thing is, Stephen, you don't get many days where Ronnie O'Sullivan's having an off day. So you've got to make them count. Perhaps that's put a bit of pressure on Martin Donald, knowing that.
Yeah, sure. What?
No, I don't think Ronnie played the cannon on the red. Just played to screw across. If there's any cannon to be played, it'd be the other red. This is a tough pink. Natural angle. Just a bit of stun for the red to the right corner. Just well on the right hand side of the pocket. For a second, I thought I might have overcut this.
7.
Any more pace, it might not have gone in.
8.
That was a good shot. Might look simple, but he needed to be high in this pink to go across for the red. Absolutely perfect. Those are the little things that players who are not as good as Ronnie Sullivan, we've seen earlier on, Martin O'Donnell didn't get perfect on the black to get in the fall on red.
14.
That's the things Ronnie Sullivan does so much better than everyone else.
He's going to be required to
15.
play a very good green to brown in order to win this frame. And that's Martin O'Donnell's only real hope. Wasn't ideally placed on the black, so had to sacrifice
Yeah.
perfect position, and he's now
21.
got arguably a bit of a problem with that cue over the top of the pink.
Well, it's very rare that Ronnie Sullivan gets the cue ball clean, so he must have seen something on it.
This is a very tough shot if he's got the cue jacked up in the air to any extent.
He has got an angle. He may play twice across to... He's looking to see if the brown's potable. He could play 2 cushions, try and just nudge the brown out. Oh, absolutely
26.
perfect. With just slightest of brushes on the brown. If ever you wanted to put the cue ball with your hand, this would be it. This to go 19 ahead with 18 on.
30.
It's been a fabulous little break, this, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, and that little nudge made that brown unmissable. So the blue completely seals the deal.
35.
And even though it hasn't been vintage Ronnie O'Sullivan, he looks to have plenty of breathing space in this match. Don't think his opponent's showing enough strength now to give him any trouble.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 35.
Well, Martin is going to continue. Two snookers with 2 balls left on the table. You would think to get those he'd have to lay about 20 snookers for the chance to get 2 fouls from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Oh, there's one. Great shot. Problem is that pink's gone nearish to the baulk cushion, which makes it a pretty big target.
Frame conceded. Frame Ronnie O'Sullivan.
And so Ronnie O'Sullivan, I think perhaps comfortably now going to a 4-1 lead, even though it's not been the best stuff he's played all week.
Well, as you know, the final of this Betway United Kingdom Championship is on Sunday, and the Sunday after that, there's another huge sporting occasion with another grand old trophy up for grabs.
Another record-breaking year of sporting success. Trophy after medal after trophy after medal. Enjoy the victories and know there are proud nations supporting you.
England win a World Cup penalty shootout!
Here's to a great year of sport. BBC Sports Personality of the Year. This year's personal best. Live Sunday, 16th of December on BBC One and BBC iPlayer.
And there are still a few tickets remaining for the big night in Birmingham, and you can have a quick look at bbc.co.uk/sports personality, and that'll give you a few details on who's playing, because it's not just about the sport. There's some great bands that are going to be playing as well, and you indeed could join the party. But back to our quarter-final here, guys, and it was a bit drawn out there, but Ronnie looks like he's striding now towards the semi-final here.
Yeah, there's so many facets required to be absolutely top class, and Ronnie O'Sullivan is brilliant when the games are bitty and the frames are no good. I mean, we're going to show you the top shot here for looking at the table. When he comes to it, he's got 3 reds there. Obviously, he's got a chance at this one. But if we run it on now, he not only pots this, comes across the table. You can argue whether he played the cannon or he didn't. But the point is, from that situation on the table, he ends up winning the frame from there with a very good pink in the middle pocket. And it was a really bitty, horrible frame that was difficult to get any flow in it, and yet he can still manage to clear up from there.
And Alan, we've had a 29.5-minute frame, a 35.5-minute frame before that, and he's kept his focus well here.
Yes, he has. Thinking back to frame 2, Ronnie could have done a similar thing there and pinch it. He didn't, but made no mistake. And Steve says not his best, but it's still good.
Yep, running away from Martin O'Donnell now. Let's see what he can produce in frame 6.
Now, how expensive could that be? I have a feeling it could be very expensive. Because the black's in the open, pink's in the open. Good opportunity here.
One.
I haven't really had many scoring opportunities right at the beginning of frames, Ronnie, in this match, when the balls have been in good positions. Straight away, playing the red, it's on the black spot.
Seven. 8.
And at some stage in this match, you'd expect Ronnie O'Sullivan to move through the gears.
15.
And even though it's not necessarily essential for him, having a three-frame buffer is
16.
a lot more comfortable than the scores being relatively level.
Another kick there. Killed the pace of the cue ball. He'd have been much closer to the black. Only meant he had less control over the shot that he could play. Had to just drop on this red rather than play. If he was closer to the black, he may have played some sort of cannon into the right-hand side of the bunch.
$24. $31.
Might be able to shift a few reds here, depending upon the exact angle.
$32.
Didn't shift them much, but enough.
$39. $40. $47.
This cut to the middle is more acute than he was planning. Still kind of stun off the right cushion, up for the blue.
48.
Much more orthodox frame this has turned out to be.
$53. $54.
Got a red either side of those little cluster of 5 reds. One to left corner, one to right corner. Been quite unusual this break in the fact that he's never had to really go into the bunch yet.
59.
Yeah, that little nudge was all that was required.
60.
This red gets him over the line.
67. 68.
Certainly with the colour. And at one stage in this match, it did look like there was a problem brewing, but his opponent wasn't strong enough, and eventually this seemed to be the order of the day.
73.
Yeah,
74.
when Martin caught the middle jaw with that safety shot, I just had a feeling this was going to happen. There's going to be some pot down the cushion. He's
81.
going to make a century here. This will definitely be shot of the match if this goes in.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 81 and a frame.
Martin O'Donnell concedes. Nice 81 break from Ronnie O'Sullivan. Stretches his lead to 5-1.
The white cleaned. I've got a damp cloth.
Well, it's looking very much like an O'Sullivan win this afternoon, and he's very much on the cusp of an 11th semi-final in this UK Championship. And to take up Steve Davis's point in the commentary, guys, at one point it did look like we had a contest for a while anyway.
Yes, but Ronnie O'Sullivan's not just the best player in the game, he's also now one of the best competitors. And he's shown that for, as we said, a number of years now. And Martin O'Donnell, unfortunately, just hasn't been able to have the firepower to really put him under a lot of pressure today. There was a little scare first 2 or 3 frames, but in general, Ronnie just is in every department he's stronger.
Clearly still in the match at the moment, but what would be the positives at this point he would be taking away from today, John?
Well, obviously experience. You know, never done it before to get to this stage, and the fact that he's improving through the circuit. 3rd quarter-final, I think it is, this year that he's played in. So he's obviously getting better and improving, but who knows what he takes away from it. The only thing I would say today is he's learned today of the importance of when the chances come against the big boys, you don't get that many, and when you do, you have to make the most of them. And the higher he wants to go up the ranking list, that's what becomes more and more important as you go along. You don't get buckets of chances, but especially against Ronnie, they're massively important if you don't take them. And that's why the scoreline's 5-1. He hasn't done that today.
He needs one more, O'Sullivan, for a place in the semi. Here we go.
You don't see many poor break-offs these days in top-class snooker. There's no damage done other than to the blue and brown.
As the last frame was an orthodox frame, this already has got the makings of a scrappy one. The black's blocked up. Browns on the cushion, blues off its spot. Reds are all bunched up, covering each other.
No path back to balk for Ronnie O'Sullivan, so looking to lay on a red, which he does successfully. It's the type of frame. What if both the players go, can we have a re-rack? They both say we want a re-rack just because it's gone messy. It could be the future a little bit. Don't have to play. Both players go, no, this has the makings of a long drawn out frame. Good safety. Cutting off escapes down the left-hand side of the table as we look on our TV screen. This is going to take some working out. Could try some sort of weird screw back to balk with that red that's further down the table, try and sort of get out of trouble. He's coming down to see now if he comes off 2 cushions and plays a shot similar to Ronnie's shot. Is that red on the right corner potable? Looks like he thinks he's going to be okay containing the situation. Bit underpaced, I think.
Foul, a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4. Yeah.
So he's going to have one more go at this before he's
Can't see through. Just check that for me, Marcel, please.
under a bit of pressure. I'm sure he'll make the adjustment.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys.
Hit it harder. Looks to be as played. However, you would assume he's going to be back in the same area with the same problem after this shot from Ronnie. 2 or 3 cushion safety. It's critical from Martin O'Donnell's position. If he can see this red that's poked its nose out, he's got a chance to get back to balk, but if not, it's the same type of shot. Big area to hopefully lay into. Those 3 reds now in a line off 2 cushions, so the direction of the escape's not that much of a problem. Still got to be careful though. If he does play the 2 cushion get out, he wants to lay on a red. Wonder if there's a shot round the back of the 3 reds that are in a line on the right hand side of the table. He could perhaps play cushion first and try and just get the cue ball into the corner, the right corner. Maybe a risk of going in off, but as long as he got the ball safe, he'd settle for that. And what's he sorted out here? Yeah, there's a safe area over here. Looks to have contained the situation on first glance. Clever safety shot. Although, looks like he stuck a red up. Tough to get on a colour. This frame had the words nightmare written all over it very early on from the opening break-off when blue and brown went safe. It's been a problem for both players ever since.
Well, you can see it was almost half an hour since his last pot, and there was an argument for saying if Ronnie did leave him something that wasn't too easy, the chances are that'd be Ronnie's best way of getting a leave in this frame.
Well, Martin O'Donnell tried to get some sort of position, made the pot a lot harder.
One.
Well, there's every chance that that attempted long pot could be his last. It'll probably be his last shot in this match.
Yeah, it's not all plain sailing. There's a lot of reds all grouped together around the black, but
7.
more so than any other player on the circuit. These balls are still at
8.
Ronnie O'Sullivan's mercy. It's one part of the game I feel that he really enjoys the challenge of an awkward layout of balls. It gives him his own personal challenge.
14. 15.
Available.
21.
So 4 pockets, which makes his task a lot easier.
22.
'Although the reds are all blocking each other around the black, whenever he pots one, it releases another one.
28. 29. 35. 36.
'And when there are a lot of open reds, the pink is an easier ball to work around than the black.
42.
Get yourself in less traps than you can on the black spot.
43.
Ronnie deliberately leaving the cue ball fractionally high there so he can stun across for one more loose red that's potable into the same pocket, inching ever closer to the winning line.
49.
He's got a couple of loose reds still, one down in the bottom of
50.
the table, one on the side cushion. Then maybe another red goes. Very close to that blue.
When John was saying in the studio what Martin can take from this match, I suppose one thing he can take is most of the players he'll come up against won't be as good as Ronnie O'Sullivan.
57.
He's had a great season, knocking on the doors of the top 64 to stay on the tour by right. It's all relative, considering the fact he dropped off the tour a couple of times. He should
63.
be 2 down.
64.
Yeah, I think if he watches this match back, he'll just see the unforced errors he's made, and that's the problem with a lot of players play Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's the easy shots that they play wrong, not so much the difficult ones.
70.
And what seemed like inevitably Ronnie O'Sullivan over the line now in this
71.
frame. And it would be a great way to go out with a century. Packed house here at the Barbican. I've seen a fair bit of Ronnie today. Don't you see as much of him? He's usually back in the dressing room by now.
$78. $84. 85.
Starting to look very much like Ronnie O'Sullivan is going to bookend his performance today with 2 centuries, one in the first frame, one in the final frame. Again, the blue is just hampering.
$92.
Just needs one decent. I think the red passes the green, so maybe not as tough a positional shot as I first thought. He is going to play for it for one of the middle pockets, but that kiss will do him no harm.
98.
Well, it was Ronnie O'Sullivan
99.
who knocked the brown and blue safe off the break. Let's see if he can knock them in from where they are.
$103.
Wouldn't put it past him. Blue's a lot more difficult than it looks on our overhead screen.
Try and move the brown here.
$106. Ronnie O'Sullivan,
So a century to finish with for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's not really been put under any pressure today from his opponent. In the end, it's a very comfortable victory. 6-1 into the semi-finals.
Yeah, Ronnie finishing off impressively with that 106, his 2nd century of the match and his 6th century indeed of the week. Comfortable in the end, Alan?
Yeah, and as Steve touched on today, he brushes aside these opponents with a minimum of fuss in the end, and not an absolute overdrive, but just so consistent. He played iffy at worst for a couple of frames, and then he just, once he finds it, and such a good finisher, JP.
Oh, to finish matches off, it's just, honestly, we extol many virtues he's got, but there's never been anyone better than finishing games off. I mean, he came to the table there, did it look like it was going to be a century? But he made it one, and he just completely finished it off and gives himself, you know, the least amount of aggravation.
He does, and actually to have the desire to finish off with a century there and to want to be striding over the line rather than just falling over it is to his credit.
We were both drooling, actually, that his cue ball in the last frame, he's got it singing songs and right and wrong. It's just, he is sublime with a cue ball and sight to behold for his opponent more so than any other.
And of course, he's chasing 1,000 centuries, which will be absolutely unprecedented in the history of the sport. So he's on 986,
I think it is now.
you know, so it's coming any time soon.
Probably not this week, however. You never know.
You never know.
He's going to get a move on, though. Yeah. But tell you what, you wouldn't take anything's possible where he's concerned. But so far, the toughest match he's had, Ken Doherty, on that Saturday.
Yeah, and it's ironic, actually, because he's been the most experienced of the players that he's played. You know, he's played him a few times. He's been not comfortable in playing, but he knows what to expect. The other opponents Ronnie's had this week have just been, a couple of them have been rabbits in headlights and not used to the situation. Ken, obviously, with his experience, is the one who put it up to him most.
He sure did. And since then, Ronnie's already beaten Joe Yulong, Jack Lazowski and, of course, Martin today, after having beaten Ken Doherty before that. Alex Simmons as well. Well done, Ronnie. We're just saying that's a great test of your concentration, your focus, and you've passed it really well. How did you rate that passing of the examination today, Ronnie?
Yeah, no, I've never played Martin before, you know, and I know he's a steady kind of approach player, but when you've never played someone, you just don't know, you know, so... You know, he's got to the quarterfinals, had some great results this season, so I didn't know what his scoring power was like, his potting, so I was just a bit on edge, you know, just trying to feel my way into it, and it's never good because you've got to try and impose yourself as much as you can, but please, you know, that's probably a really good match for me because I had to really play some safety and be patient, you know. Yeah, and actually the guys were just saying the way you strode over the line there with a century must leave the arena feeling in a good place, actually. Yeah, I'm enjoying, you know, playing and that and practice and stuff like that, and sometimes I'm not taking my match form immediately on the match table, but I'm finding my feet, so I know my game's there. It's just nice to get it right from the off, you know. Now, Alan and John and I were discussing your work with Steve Feeney, and you came in, actually, you were chatting away with Jason the other day about what you thought is a fantastic science. I know you've been really engaged in it, but Alan, you noticed a couple of things about Ronnie's setup at the moment that we don't know if it's just a change or not. Have a look.
I'm always watching all the players. What's this swipe about? What's... Swipe? A couple of 2 or 3 swipes before going in. What, with a cue? Yeah.
No, I just think it's when you get the setup, you know, it's sort of like you feel like you've got your cue in your hand and you want to do something.
Is it more for a visual thing?
No, it's nothing to do with the cue in my hand. It's just sort of getting myself set for the shot. But when you've got the cue in your hand, you think, like, I want to be doing something with it. Otherwise you feel like a bit like...
So it's like a trigger movement as much as anything?
Nerves, you know. If I probably worked on not doing it, it's nothing to do with the method. It's just how you get set up on the shot, so you've got the cue in your hand. Is there any way, Ronnie, I mean, obviously we haven't had a chance to talk about this, and without getting into too much depth, is there any way of trying to tell everybody what it is that he's worked on, what he's improved in your game? Well, I wouldn't even do that, you know, it's Steve's method, and if you want to go and see the guy, you know, he's obviously, he's the coach, I'm just a pupil. I love to learn. It's, you know, I'm really enjoying what it is, and you know, it not only works for snooker, it could work for golf. I think if Tiger Woods got in contact with him, I think he'd win another 4 or 5 majors because he believes that he can do it with, you know, with all golf clubs. So you know, it's a great. Yeah, I think it's just a modern day sport now. There's such small margins that Steve's kind of looked on something that's kind of, you know, to try and make you the most consistent and the best you can be, really. So what sort of percentage increase have you felt since working with him in your game, would you say? I feel like I've got a lot more shots in my locker. I feel like my long game's a lot better. I feel like I'm pure striking more. I feel like I'm much more in control. I feel more compact. Everything that you want to feel as a sportsman, you know. You know, you just have to look what he done for Mark Williams, you know. Most people wouldn't have noticed it, but as a player, you notice the changes that he went through, and, you know, very, very compact and solid, and, you know, and that's all you want to be, really, you know. Was it Mark's success, actually, in seeing what he'd achieved with him that maybe persuaded you to think about going to him in the first place? It wasn't so much success, because I know Mark's, you know, a great player, and, you know, if he'd won 3 or 4 tournaments, you know, you wouldn't have been surprised, you know, but I just think it was just the way his technique had changed and the way he was, you know, setting up to the ball, and I knew there was something going on there, you know, and I always want to learn and improve, and, you know, I'm just pleased that he's working with me, you know. Yeah.
Me too, funny enough. I was at Championship. We were in the studio there by the practice tables at the Crucible, and I was watching Mark, and I thought, something's changed big time. You can tell when someone just hits the ball properly, can't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And he was hitting the middle stitches on the pocket all the time. It wasn't like off the jaws. It was like.
I mean, there's times when I'm playing the shot now, and I'm like not just wanting to get it in. I'm thinking, oh, I want it in the left side of the pocket or the right side of the pocket, and you know, not all the time, but there's times when you.
Well, you did it there, then you're on the pink in the break in the last. You pinched a bit of the pocket. You need to come round for the last.
Yeah, there's long periods where you go playing, and I just feel like I can just pinch parts of the pocket now, so it just opens up more possibilities, you know.
It must be great though, because you've sort of covered all the bases. You got Steve Peters on the mental side.
I've run out of people. Unless Jesus Christ comes back to life and wants to like do some his magic, but I just, but great with Steve Peters. Obviously, I still have to work on that, because you get excited, just getting a bit excited at that, and I'm like, calm down, because it's so different from the practice table to the match table, and you can't just pot everything, you'd love to, but you can't, so you have to find a way.
It's funny Ronnie's talking about watching Mark. When I'm watching Ronnie, I think see the long shots you're talking about. To me, they've got a go in look about them.
Yeah.
Where I used to watch every play, and I think I don't really fancy it. Yeah. Now it's got that go in look, and that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that the easiest way to explain it is probably it gets you playing. I mean, feeling like John Higgins. I watched John Higgins. If you just looked at a picture of John Higgins on the shot, you go, there's nothing that can go wrong. It's perfect. He's supple. He can float them in. He's rock solid. And I think he turns you into that type of player. Look, like when you're on the shot, you can look at a player and think, he's going to be, he looks good on the shot.
Yeah, when someone like John, the thing is, you're sitting in the other chair, you're thinking, this is in, that.
That's
all it is, isn't it?
You just know, and even if it's not in, you think, well, maybe next time.
Well, I hope John's watching anyway, because he's thinking about packing in, and he's far too good anyway. So if you're watching John, Ronnie says you're brilliant, get back and play.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Actually, the other thing we were mentioning is the fact that Ken Doherty is the man who's given you the toughest match so far this week, isn't he?
Yeah, Ken, he played out of his skin, the first 4 or 5 frames, he didn't miss a ball, playing like he was enjoying it, which is what you got to do, and it was a tough game. But that was really tough for me today. He's one of the players, Martin, that you just want to do well because, he puts the hours in, he's got the right attitude, he wants to kind of, be the best that he can be, and he's prepared to push the boat out if he has to, which is good, so he's he'll be a top 16 player, I think, at some point.
Well, great to hear you being so generous about Martin today, and great to see you in the semi-finals once again, Ronnie. We'll look forward to that. Thank you very much for coming in.
Cheers.